It's Howard Simon and Jeremy White.
Wow, would you look at that? It's a total eclipse of the sun. Oh my goodness, that didn't last long.
Howard Simon.
If I put this here and my phone here, I have a total eclipse of the phone.
Jeremy White.
How was it? Weird. Dark, cold, another dark, amazing. I'm going to die now, and we hope that doesn't happen.
Howard Simon and Jeremy White.
Well, we're having a good time, too. And there's some people who think we should take this a little more seriously on the Twitter. Because for us, this is just a lot of fun.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
I didn't see the eclipse.
Is it over?
No, I don't think it's over. I think it doesn't it go for like an hour or something like that, but you can't see the sun. Well, first up, I know I'm not supposed to look at the sun is blocked by the office park.
That's the thing. I also can't see it because of trees and houses.
Can I go on the roof? Is that all right?
I guess the best time to see it started at 5:36 this morning.
Yeah, and I peeked out the BEN window, and the sun's behind the freaking buildings.
Yeah, maybe give it some time. You can watch the news. The news is showing it.
Yeah, but I wanted to see it, though. Although you're not supposed to look at it, right? Now, Brayton... Now, I've got a direct line of sight to the rising sun over building, what the heck is that? What are we? Are we 500 or 300?
We're 500.
All right, so, Jeremy, you remember. Of course, you haven't been in here in like 10 years, but...
have there been renovations? I mean, they might have changed
no,
the numbers.
It's the same thing.
Time.
300 across the street. I am in the direct line of sight for sunlight. It is just about to come up over building 300 across the street from us, so... I don't know. Actually, the sun looks pretty bright. Doesn't look like there's... It is actually, Brayton, can you put the shade... Can you close the shades? The sun is actually pretty bright.
You could provide some play-by-play for everybody. I think they'd really appreciate it.
The sun is rising above building 300 on the horizon. You can see a bright, fierce light emerging from the sky through the leaves in the trees that are in front of building 500 on Corporate Parkway. It is rising as we speak, and it's getting really bright. You need to close the shades, actually, Brayton, because the sun's going to be in my eyes directly.
So you can't see the moon in front of it?
No. But again, the sun is not up. I mean, I'm seeing it is literally, ow, that is bright. It is literally rising above the roof of the building across the street as we do the opening segment. I see no blockage, blot, anything, dot, nothing, zippo, zilch.
All right. Well, the news is showing pictures of it. I've seen a couple and retweeted a couple already this morning as well. So if you want to get a look at it that way.
Okay, now there are some blots in my eyes, actually. If I close my eyes, the sun is burning into my face. Okay, go ahead.
You can also get like special glasses, but chances are you don't just have those lying around. So
no, I don't.
You could look at it through a reflection. Like you said, it's an office park. If you were to look at through the window reflecting back at you, you could look at it that way. When I was in high school, one of the ways we looked at an eclipse, which I think was a full eclipse, like one of those Ring of Fire eclipses, was looking at it through a puddle on the ground. So that's an option.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to tell you. Yeah, Brayton, you got to close the shit.
But the other thing you can do.
Stop looking at the bright light then.
I can't help it.
There's another thing you can do, which is, WGR does not stand by this statement. Please don't take this as medical advice. You can just look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to
It's the same as looking at the sun all the time.
Yeah, right. No, actually, it's more. I don't know.
Nope,
It's
not more
science.
Concentrated. It's not. I had a science teacher who said, "You can look at it." The reason that they tell everybody not to look at it is because when there's an eclipse, everybody looks at it, and then there's an uptick in people that injure themselves with eye injuries. I'm sure an eye doctor would say right now, please don't look at it. Right, don't. But if you did, you don't have to go to the doctor any more than you would if you accidentally, just quick took a peek at the sun, which happens plenty of times. I hit a golf ball. I look at the sun accidentally. You'll be okay.
But if you look directly at a light and then you close your eyes, you see kind of a little bright spot in your eyes when you close them directly ahead of you. That's happening right now.
Approximately 30 million times in my life.
Well, that's happening now because the sun is now above. Yeah, the sun's almost. Yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see any eclipse. It's pretty darn. It looks like a pretty bright circle to me. We would have had an eclipse somewhere. It was in the 1970s because I would have been in elementary school. There was something with a box, like you cut a hole or something. Like you took out a cardboard box. I remember being on the front lawn with my two brothers, and it was like you don't look directly into the eclipse, but there was a box and you cut a hole in it, and I don't know. There was some crazy
pinhole
way.
Projector is what it's
there
called.
You go.
It's
That's it.
Simple, safe way to watch an eclipse. I
That's
guess
what we did.
The difference is you can't really watch an eclipse, but you can Yeah, like when they say don't look at it, they mean like don't stare to see it go through your, your
Yeah, see,
field
I've been
of vision.
staring at the sun over Building 300, and it's probably not a good idea to do that.
Well, you need an aluminum foil with a pinhole, and you put your head in it.
Oh, my goodness.
And paper taped to the other end.
And then you hear aliens.
I'm looking at this pinhole projector, how to do it.
Is it really aluminum foil, or you're just making this up?
No,
I thought you were making up like some crazy hat to put on my head with aluminum foil and antenna coming out to communicate with aliens.
No, you put a shoebox on your head to look at this. Some sort of large cardboard box that would fit over your head. They show a shoebox. I don't know what kind of shoebox is fitting on my head, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. No, maybe I don't even. No, we had to save all the shoeboxes when we were little for dioramas.
Yeah.
Couldn't burn them on the eclipse. We had something else for the eclipse.
So there you go. You've got an eclipse today.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not really. It seems like sunrise to me.
Reports. Driving to work, using glasses and 1% tint for my car visor. It's about 15% covered right now, the sun, that is.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Just bright sun shooting back into my eyeballs.
Yeah.
This is depressing. I never see any of this stuff. That's the only decent thing about getting up when we do the eclipse or something in the sky when they say, well, the best time to see it is between 5 and 6 a.m. Like, okay, I'm here. I never see any of this stuff. I mean, it's a lovely sunrise, basically. It's very nice, actually. It's
another
not
nice
surprisingly, it's rising in the east. Go figure.
Yeah. Pinhole glasses, another thing you got there.
Okay.
If you've got those. Are they useful for anything else? Is it a one-trick kind of deal? Like you make pinhole glasses and you can look at an eclipse and then you just put them away for the next eclipse?
Yeah.
Should every household have them? You could put
in reserve.
You could attach them to the fire extinguisher or the smoke detector, so you know you've got one.
When you need it, it's right. I'll put it on the rack with the spare car keys, so I know where it is every time. That and the pool key. I know where it is anytime I need it. Hey, there's an eclipse. Where are the Oh yeah, the glasses are on the rack. Get them. There's a partial eclipse. Yeah.
Dale tweets in if you have a welding mask. You probably have one of those laying around, right?
Yeah.
A welding mask.
Yes. Well, you never know when all of a sudden you're going to wake up on a Saturday and go, I got to get some welding done today.
Right. Open up this drawer. Got a lemon peeler. Got an apple core. Yeah, here's a welding mask.
Yeah, I'm not. I won't invest in a welding mask.
Okay. Well, there you go. The eclipse. Is it over? Somebody let us know if it's over.
It never began. I'm telling you, there's just a bright ball of light. But go look out your window.
I saw it this morning.
Oh, well, that's okay. Well, that's good for you. See, I didn't see squat.
It's going to be like the earthquake. Did you feel it? No. Yes.
That I felt one time. I was in bed and the bed shook. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So that I felt. That's right. But this, nothing. All right. Brayton, move the shades. Close the blinds.
This eclipse is distracting.
No, it's just the sun's bright. You know how it is in here.
Right.
When I'm, you sit with your back to the window, I'm literally in direct line of sight. Like if there was one of those little laser pointers or whatever, it would be on my forehead right now. The sun is just shooting directly into my eyes this morning. Hey, but I'm a gamer. I told you I'm not doing the whole big story because I told you once before, but I think the best video I ever took with my cell phone was video of the sun setting over the west when we were in Cabo. And then, of course, I fell in the water and my phone was ruined and we lost all the video and the pictures. But that was the coolest video I've ever seen.
You fell in the water?
Yeah, I told you the story. Let's not go through it again.
I don't know how'd you fall in?
Off a boat. Please. Let's just move on.
Okay, I didn't. Maybe I haven't heard
it's
that
one
story?
of the more you have, and don't worry about it. I'm glad you don't remember it because it's one of the more embarrassing moments. Anyway,
it was more embarrassing than scoring a basket in the wrong basket in a basketball game locally. In a city league basketball game?
No.
Well, I feel like you should have to tell it more often.
All right, quick story. You ready? Very quickly, because we're only here till 10. We're in my wife and I went to Cabo. It's a destination wedding. You know, you've heard me talk about how I've got this stupid timeshare?
Yes.
That was that trip.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because
stupid thing. It's the dumbest. By the way, that's not the most embarrassing thing in my life, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life.
I want to let you know when you tweeted at me about talking about the back nine at Harding Park and embarrassing myself, I thought of taking the timeshare shot, but I didn't.
Go ahead. It is singularly. I will take that on my tombstone. Here lies Howard Simon, 1962 stupidly bought a timeshare in year whatever it would have been. We're probably like 10 years removed from it.
You're going to have a lot of things written on your tombstone.
It's going to be a really big, I'm going to need like a giant mausoleum just because of everything that's got to go on the marker.
Picker of the bills.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
you got to start
Non-eater
with
of peanut
you gotta
butter.
Start with beloved father, beloved husband,
Jeez,
beloved
I hope
son,
so. Thank you.
Picker of the bills.
Non-eater of peanut butter till age 53
exactly.
or whatever it would have been, 55. Wearer of dad sneakers and cargo shorts. I mean, there's so many things. Anyway, we went to Cabo. We're there for the destination wedding. We went on this boat where you basically have the iconic photo of the whatever rock formation or something. It looks like a giant gate, like with a big opening. It's famous for this beach and rock formation. Whatever.
Okay.
So you take you get on a boat, you cross the water, you go over to this island where all this stuff is, and you're like, that's really cool. So my wife and I get on the boat. There is no dock, okay? The boat doesn't go into a physical dock. So they get as close to land as they can, and you are supposed to basically climb off the boat into water and then walk to the beach, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, we started to do that, but unfortunately,
So
the boat's moving, it's drifting, it's going up and down. There's nothing you can do. Go ahead. You got a
So
question?
you fell while getting out of a boat,
yeah.
not fell off a boat.
No, I was trying to get out, and I fell into the water.
I think that that can be a difficult thing to maneuver. It's not that bad.
Okay, so I'm going to leave out the part that my wife will want me to tell. But anyway,
Which is what?
she falls into the water, and she's freaking out. I go into the water first. She's freaking out, and I'm like, 'cause she's worried. Oh, my God, I'm going to be trapped under the boat. We're going to drown. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And I'm flailing. I'm trying, because I'm not, you know me, I'm not good in water. I'm not a very good swimmer. I have a little bit of a fear of water, more specifically a fear of drowning in water. So I'm kind of not totally panicking, but I go, oh, crap, I'm underwater. What do I do?
Is this where you tell me that you Costanza'd in the fire and you ran and you saved yourself?
No.
Okay.
Well, that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Okay. I believe my wife would have divorced me at that point if I did that. No, so we're going, oh, my God, we're in the water. What are we going to do? Somebody help us. And Joanne and my wife is in the water. So I'm like, I got to help her. What do I do? And then I just stand up and realize we're in knee-deep water.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, hey, Joe, just stand up. We're in knee-deep water. We're not like in the middle of the river or the lake, whatever. We can actually stand. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to stand up here. But anyway, my phone was in my pocket.
And it
To complete water. Now, we did the whole there was rice, whatever, right? You're supposed to put a cell phone in. So we end up going someplace in Cabo to buy rice. And we try that. There was a cell phone store within walking distance of the resort. We go over there to see if they can resuscitate the phone. And they said, it might work for a few minutes, but there's no guarantee. So we did one of those nighttime cruises where you go way out on the water and you see the sunset. It's really cool. I mean, it's not like it takes a long time. Once it starts going down over the horizon, we're like, oh, this is awesome. We're taking video. Yeah. It's beautiful. I mean, the colors, the sunset, it is on the phone. I am so psyched. Phone goes in the water, phone dead, goodbye videos, never saw him again.
No.
It was well, and like I said, but that trip, the stupidest part was buying a freaking timeshare. Hey, if anybody's listening, don't ever, sure, we'll do the presentation. We get free transportation from the airport to the resort. They're going to give us free breakfast. We have to just sit through like a 60-minute presentation and say no. Yeah. Anyway, so what's new? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I can.
If you need a week in Cabo, by the way, let me know. I can book it for you.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a little something for you, maybe. So, every once in a while, people ask me, like, hey, have you ever heard anything from the super secret Saber source? And it has been a quiet little run here. I heard something.
Mm-hmm.
And
his says as his ears perk up.
Yeah, and I asked, can I use that? And I did not get an answer, but I think it's not exactly the most shocking news you could hear, so I'm just going to go with it because I think it's probably right, and everybody's going to say, like, oh, okay, I guess that's probably right.
Did you do the All the President's Men thing? I'm going to count to 10, and if you don't hang up, it's okay for me to say this on the air, and if you do hang up, I won't use it.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of, is that okay to say? And I'm making an executive decision here because the person did not get back to me. It looks like Granado.
Oh, very good. Okay, that's fine.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't, I was trying to find out when.
Yeah.
How soon could this be known? It's not, I'm not telling you Jack Eichel's being traded to the Kings for 4 picks. No, it's just it looks like it's going to be Granado, and as remaining as coach of the Sabres, which, that's not that shocking.
Yeah.
That he was probably the favorite coming in. He had the job. He did a good enough job. He had the respect of many players. He's worked with young guys before, and he got a lot out of the young guys.
Yeah.
Within reason. So it looks like it's going to be Granato, and I don't know if anything will change that. If Brindamore all of a sudden becoming available would change that. If, the Bruins just lost, is their coach going to get fired? You might hear some calls for him to get fired.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
So it looks like it'll be Granato.
I think it was Drager who tweeted the other day, right, that there might still be people working in the playoffs that the Sabres would still want to talk to. But I think honestly the only question, and there's a two-part question here about Granato and if it is him. Drager again, I believe it was Drager. Yeah, when Drager reported the hold, one of the guys they talked to was Ricard Gronberg. Drager threw out the idea of could it be as an associate coach? Could they hire Granato and then bring in Gronberg? Or, I guess for the purposes of discussion, bring in anybody else as a, quote, associate head coach, not just a couple of 2 or 3 assistants on the bench with him, but a guy who is an associate head coach. Honestly, for me, the only thing about Granato would be, okay, when they played better, 2 things. One, would basically anybody have been better than Kruger behind the bench at that point?
Probably.
And 2, is it playing out the string, no pressure, and guys look good because the games were absolutely meaningless for the last month or 2 of the season?
It could be that. My favorite stat that it's not exactly completely bulletproof, but it's pretty good, is that Granato was coaching a team with a salary cap of like $30 million.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, right.
They had such a, when they're without Eichel, McCabe, the goaltenders, the guys they rolled through there, his team had a cap that was pretty low.
Yeah.
So, that's worth mentioning, I think. Maybe not $30 million, but
yeah,
whatever the final
it wasn't
number
exactly.
was.
Yes, it was.
There
It was half of maybe what the.
There were times where the roster they were fielding was just so far below an NHL roster. This is where you make the joke that he might have to get used to that. But the idea of a young team and his style of play, I don't know if that works for Kevin Adams, but our conversations with Granato throughout the season were, I'll just say, wonderful.
Yes.
They were nothing short of wonderful. He was very good to talk to, and if he gets the job as the full-time head coach, then he'll have a chance to be the front door to the franchise a little bit and talk fans through stuff more regularly than the GM does. The GM speaks to fans once every 2-3 weeks, month, maybe, depending on the GM. Jason Botterill was with Show Up on the Bulldog like every other week. Tim Murray, about the same. The head coach talks about the team every day. And whether it's Zoom calls or it's in person, the head coach is speaking on every loss, every win, and that means that he is the most important figure in communicating who you are, what you're doing, what's going on. Kruger was not good at that.
No.
Especially in the face of losses. Kruger has a lot of good words, good things to say, but in the face of all those losses, those messages rang hollow. And Granato, I think, just did a really nice job with that. It doesn't mean he's going to win.
Right.
But the Sabres will instantly improve in the public relations of their team if, in fact, it is Granato brought back, because I thought it was a great strength of his and one of the best that we've ever talked to about that. I mean, Lindy was really good at that because he was honest.
Yes.
And Granato's really good at that because he comes across, I think, as very honest.
Okay, a few things. One, I'm seeing pictures that are being tweeted in of the partial eclipse. We must have a different sun here in Corporate Parkway because that is not what we saw. I mean, that looks nice. I mean, there's a horizon, it's orange, and you can see the sun is partially blocked out. By the time the sun got up over the building across the street here, it was a full-blown bright circle. So we have a different sun here.
It was supposed to peak by 5:39 a.m. So if you didn't see it by 5:39,
no, I didn't see it.
You missed peak.
All right, I missed it. Let's have another one. Granato. See, the thing about Granato, is it bad that through this process, we have been able to get the Sabres coach on for every week now for years, going back to Lindy, as Jeremy pointed out. Is it bad that one of the things I thought of is don't hire John Tortorella? One, I don't think he's the right mix for this or the right fit for this team. Two, I cannot deal with Tuesday interviews with John Tortorella on this show. I'm 59 and I don't want to put up with it. So Granato, it isn't just that, we're not saying hire the guy, he's a fun interview, although my standards have been lowered, but it's philosophically what he was saying. It's his approach to the game, how we think how he says the game should be played and how you coach it and how you attack it. Look, how many times, Ralph was a very nice guy. We never had any problems with him. He was always on the show. He always answered our questions. And even when the questions were tougher, not fun questions, he'd answer it. But there were a number of times where we'd listen to what he said, and you would point it out, or Twitter would start pointing it out, that it just doesn't sound like he is adjusting. Like, here's what I do, we're going to make it work. But it's not working, so what are you going to do about it? Here's what I do, it's going to work, trust me. And you bang your head into the wall. Now, Granato takes over, and it sounds like he comes in and says, okay. Like, we talked about it. It's almost like he was keeping his mouth shut or biting his lip, tongue, whatever you bite. Oh, Ralph, you think we should try this? Like, he gets the chance, and he changes all the stuff around. And he comes on with us and explains it. Again, attack, have the puck, all these different things. So it wasn't just he was a good interviewer and he would openly, honestly answer questions. It was what he was saying about the approach to the sport. Now, here's another question, if it's Granato. Jeremy, and you probably pointed this out at some point, not about, the stats and they were playing pressure-free games. Is that truly what he would do? Okay, yeah. It's easy to say you come in the midst of a franchise record winless streak, maybe the lowest point of what have been numerous low points in recent years. It's almost like, man, you do anything and you'll be better than the previous guy, and there's no pressure on him. Now, if he gets the job, and it's his job, and he's got to win, or he'll be fired, does he still believe in the philosophical approach to the game that he had when the season was over and you could just throw guys out there and there was no pressure on? You were bad, you were losing. He's playing guys from Rochester. Yeah, bring Samuelson up, bring this guy up, experiment here, play this guy. Let's try anything at this point. Like, that's a pretty cool situation to be in. In October, if he has the job, that's not happening. Now you got to find a way to win hockey games with whatever roster Kevin Adams gives you. Will he have that same philosophical approach, which we all thought was a really good idea?
Well, it's also possible he is the best coach they have since Lindy Ruff.
They
had Bilesma. We know they had Dan Bilesma, and that had its share of problems. They underachieved in their second year, I suppose, and that's why he got fired. After that, it's Phil Housley, who was awful. After that, it was Ralph Kruger, who was
might have been
awful.
Worse than Housley, in fact.
Yeah, you watched other coaches get hired around the league, and it was always kind of frustrating to watch successful coaches get hired. And, this might be another run where successful coaches get hired and the Sabres go with another unknown. Not necessarily unknown, but to the larger hockey world, Granato is not really a big name. He's not Boudreau or Tortorella, like you mentioned, or Gerard Gallant, who is coaching Team Canada, right? Gerard Gallant.
Yeah.
I just saw him raving about Owen Power. Yes. So you'd wonder if Gerard Gallant is still in the mix, and if maybe they're going to talk to somebody, and Granato is their leader in the clubhouse right now. So it's eventually they're going to get something right. Hopefully they don't stick with things that don't work anymore. That's the biggest problem they've had. Is they keep sticking with things that don't work far too long, and that's why so many of their problems have lingered for so long. An identifiable problem sits right in front of the Sabres, and they just let it linger.
Yeah.
Whether that's a coach or a certain defenseman that we're still hearing they're not going to trade.
Right. Well, they have to trade.
They have to trade Reinhart and Eichel, and they're not going to trade Ristolainen.
They have to trade him, right?
On an expiring contract. Ugh.
They're not going to protect him in the draft, right?
They can't protect him in the draft.
They can technically. Be careful.
I will not be well if he is protected in the expansion
would
draft.
you rant at that point?
Yes, I will. I promise you a rant.
It's almost worth it to have him protected now.
I might also.
Right? What do you think, Brayden?
I will not be well, and it doesn't even mean they have to trade him. If they don't trade him, say what you will. If they protect him, we got problems.
How about protect him and then give him a contract extension?
I would be extremely distraught.
The most upset I'll be is the protecting.
Yeah.
More upset than a contract extension. It's just such
they protect him and then they take another defenseman that I guess Borgen would probably be the likely choice.
Yeah. Or forwards. If you protect him, you have to you expose 3 additional forwards.
Or they do I'm trying to think if they protect Ristolainen and work a side deal with basically call Ron Francis up. Here's the guy we want you to take. What do you want in return? And here's a draft.
Who would you
pick.
want them to take?
Yeah,
this is where we say Skinner?
Zemgus? They're not going to take Skinner. It's right.
No, you wouldn't think unless they want to get to the salary floor or whatever.
I I wouldn't protect Ristolainen, so for me, that's an easy choice. But who would you want them to take? I guess a guy like Zemgus.
Yep.
Because I'm not sure who else a logical.
Well, the reality is the players the Sabres will have unprotected. You shouldn't worry about who they're going to take.
No, I know. I mean,
there's really no one.
Thompson, Bjork, Asplund, although I like Asplund, but those are the guys who would be the candidates to be unprotected forwards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody I think I would lose sleep over.
Asplund's not going to. The candidates are, Thompson, Asplund.
Bjork would be in there, I think. And Zemgus.
I think so, yeah. It's not hard to do. If you go, as long as you keep Risto unprotected, it's not hard to do to protect the players that you need to.
Right, because you're protecting Dahlin and Jokiharju. It's just Ristolainen or Borgen, essentially, right?
Yeah.
For the third guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
and it's got to be the expiring contract 500-game player over the young defenseman who might turn into something.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple contract management. It will not be well if they get that wrong.
Well, I mean, it's if we're having a discussion about if Reinhart is 1 year away from free agency and won't sign a multi-year deal, why don't you trade him? Ristolainen is 1 year from free agency.
Maybe
so
the difference is that Risto would sign one.
Yeah, well, but that wouldn't be the I think smart approach. I guess that's where I'd go with that. If I were
so anyway,
yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, I missed the eclipse. It's now full sunlight out here. Okay. Well, let's start there.
You've been in the dark for years.
That's very true. Unfortunately, sad, but very darn accurate. 803-0550 to join us this morning. We'll start there. If it's indeed Granato, Sabres fans, what do you think? We've got a lot of other stuff we're going to get to today. Hey, Jays tickets are going on sale for the public sale at 10 this morning for a whole bunch of games. We'll let you know. I know one of our colleagues bought tickets for the Boston series. We were looking at that as, would it be as expensive as the Yankees series?
I'd like to talk to you about the cost of Major League Baseball.
Oh, it's the money he paid for the Boston series is actually, wait till I tell you the story about how much it cost to get a Baltimore game.
That's the thing. I logged on to try and take a look at some games, and I got spooked.
Right. Oh, my Lord, yeah.
I'm off it, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's more expensive than I thought it was going to be. We'll get into that, too. We'll get some football stuff going on. We'll get to, and just, your usual general merriment. On the show today, guess what? We missed Marty Baron. I was going through Marty withdrawal listening to the Instigators yesterday, so I asked him if he'd come on with us today for Sabres, for NHL playoff talk. So we'll get into that at 8 with Marty. We have an NHL draft guide coming up 9:30. Adam Kimmelman, NHL.com. We're going to talk about the Titans, their big move getting Julio Jones, with Teron Davenport, who covers the Titans for ESPN.com. But we got plenty of time to talk to you. 803-0550. Grab an open line. Don't forget, more Win Cash code words coming up today. 3 more chances with us this morning for you to try and win $1,000.
Hey, the Mid-Atlantic region is one of the prettiest in the country. And when people here want to enjoy the scenery, they do it on a TimberTech deck. TimberTech decks are stunning, sustainable decks backed by massive amounts of technology. And that means they perform better, last longer, and look more like real wood. Plus, they're backed by warranties of up to 50 years. The best in the industry. Better tech, better deck. So unfold the deck chair and enjoy the foliage. TimberTech. Go against the grain.
Now, they might have interest in coaches who are still on benches. That we don't know. And I've got that feedback from some other clubs that are in the coaching search, waiting to see what happens. I can't be certain as to who would be the front runner beyond Don Granato, of course, who we've talked about week after week, deservedly being in the upper echelon of the process.
That is Darren Drager from TSN on the Sabres coach search. Happy Thursday. This is the post-solar eclipse show. Thanks for hanging out with us. 803-0550 to join us. 888-552-550. If it is indeed Granato, your thoughts, Sabre fans? We can start there. And as is always the case, if you want to give an opinion on what we're talking about, great. If there's something else in your mind, you're like, I got to call Howard and Jeremy and ask about this. Sorry, I got to call Jeremy and Howard and ask about this. And you can do that too. So grab a line and join us. All right. So here's the deal on the Jays tickets. 10 o'clock this morning is the general sale. The pre-sale was yesterday. The general sale begins at 10 o'clock this morning. They're going to have tickets available for Baltimore, Seattle, Tampa. I believe those were already on whatever, doesn't matter. Those three, and then Texas and Boston. That is 10 o'clock this morning again for Jay's tickets. So here in the building, a couple of colleagues went online yesterday for the presale. One guy bought Red Sox tickets. Another guy bought Orioles tickets. And I thought, okay, I mean, I know it's dynamic pricing, so opponent matters, day of the week, time of the game, all that stuff matters. So I figured the Red Sox tickets, Jeremy, I'm like, well, they're going to be the next expensive ticket behind the Yankees, I would assume. So one of our colleagues bought 2 tickets to a Red Sox game. I don't know what day of the week it was. I think it was $105 a piece for Red Sox tickets. So I thought, okay, well, if the Yankees were over $100, Red Sox were going to be over $100.
Yep.
But
the guy where he said, I mean, I've got 100 level Red Sox, $140.
Man, for a baseball game, and it's not a playoff game.
Yeah, behind home plate.
And you're not even a Red Sox fan.
No.
Like, this is not my team is in Buffalo. It'll never happen again. I'm going.
And that includes the 101 part that is behind the little mini walkway there. So the covered 100s. I'm sorry, no, that's infield 2. That's 105 to sit back there. 140 in the front, 101 has, for section 101, 105 in the second part of it.
Yeah, I think I'd save the $35, I guess, and sit further back. Because, I mean, it's Salem Field. It's not like you're that far away from the action. Yep. Well, the guy. Well, that's why the Baltimore. I'm not surprised by the cost of the Boston ticket. I'm trying to remember Jonathan bought the Astros tickets. I forgot it was his treat for a Father's Day gift, so I don't even know what we paid. I'm guessing $50-ish a piece. I don't know. But the guy who bought the Baltimore tickets, $115 a ticket. And I looked at him and I said, and he's not even an Orioles. I look, Orioles? $115? Now, it's a Saturday game. It's a 3 p.m. game. It's the third row. Like, he's in the third row, lower level. So sure. I guess that's a big part of it. But, man, $115 to see Baltimore?
I paid $97 a ticket to see opening night, which we're pretty close in the 100 level. Fully vaccinated section, and I thought I definitely want to go to more games, but I'm at the stage where I think I just want to get in the ballpark. Right. I don't really care where I sit. And to start out, the second game of the season, the cheapest seat, I bought tickets for a friend. Tickets were $27 down the baseline in the corner. Those seats are now up to $63. Wow. For the Rangers on a Sunday, $63. So they've increased capacity where they can, of course, make more money.
That's right.
And they've increased prices where the cheapest seat is no longer cheap.
Yeah.
Which, what's the right price? Day one of Major League Baseball in Buffalo with the Blue Jays had a feeling of, wow, this is great. It's too bad we wouldn't have this all the time.
Yeah.
If the cheapest seat to every single game were $63, I don't think so.
It can't be. There's no way, right? I mean, I know it's limited capacity, even further limited by distancing and everything else, but I can't believe – I'm trying to think what is the smallest ballpark in the league. I want to say PNC Park in Pittsburgh. I should probably look up and see what their price range is. For example, now look, I just bought tickets last week. I went to –
It's Fenway, yeah. I wanted to say
it's Fenway. All right.
Yeah, Fenway's small.
And Wrigley then has got to be in this discussion too, right? Because Wrigley can't be that big. I bought tickets last week to go see the Mets and the Brewers. I went to the Mets site first just to see what the prices were, and then I went to Shmub. It was about $10 a ticket, cheaper. So I'm in like essentially the third level of Citi Field, which is, again, it's not a big ballpark. So even upstairs, you feel like you're close to the action anyway.
Wait, correction. It might not be Fenway. By seating capacity, Tropicana Field is also only 30,000.
Oh, I never even thought it. It's really? That's right?
Yeah, the Red Sox, they're 27th. I'm looking for who's 32nd here.
Got to be Wrigley in there somewhere.
Wrigley, as a small stadium, is 22nd.
That's really who's down at the bottom?
That's what I'm trying to figure out here. I'm looking at a map. It's making me scroll through an entire map.
I'm trying to think of the newer ballparks that were built in the last 10, 15 years. And how many of them are? I mean, I feel like PNC is less than 40,000.
Anyway,
so I bought tickets on the secondary market for a Mets Brewers game, a Monday night in July, and it was like $38 a ticket. Like, because I'm looking at some of the numbers. Okay, I could sit closer. Do I want to go down in the 100? There's a lower bowl at Citi Field. Now we're talking $80. Like, come on. I mean, I love the Mets, but I'm not paying $80 for a baseball game.
Yeah.
So it was in the 30s. And we went to the Astros. I had a good time. That's probably going to be the only game I go to. I'm not paying $100 to, I'm not sure that I would pay $100 to see the Mets. I probably wouldn't. It's cheaper to go see them in New York. So I probably wouldn't do that here.
Well, it's tough. I mean, the Sabres were like this for a little while. For a while, the Sabres were a great bargain. And then over time, tickets got more expensive and more expensive. The Bills have been cheap for a while and still are by NFL standards. The Bills point that out an awful lot, and as they should, that the tickets – you tell somebody out of town in New England or Miami or wherever, oh, yeah, my season ticket to the Bills is X amount of dollars. If you're not in a club seat, you're just upstairs – they're kind of blown away by how cheap a season ticket could be.
Yeah. And,
I don't think it's necessarily the same for the Sabres. And if I went to a Major League Baseball fan and said, like, oh, yeah, I get to every game for $63 as the cheapest seat, is that still, by comparison, really cheap? It's, as you pointed out, limited capacity still, small stadium in baseball, 80% for the Bisons. That's the smallest stadium in baseball, smaller than Tropicana Field's 31,000 or 30,000 capacity. But it's a big chunk. It's a big chunk of money. 2 tickets, and then there's fees. 2 people to a game, $150.
Yeah, it all adds up, right?
It feels like baseball always measured itself by family of 4, 2 dogs, 2 sodas, right? Like that used to be the baseball kind of number.
Don't forget parking, yeah.
Parking, all that. It is expensive. So
the 2 tickets that our colleague bought for the Baltimore game, in total with the fees and everything else, came to $240.
For 2 tickets.
Yep.
That's
because it was
amazing.
$115 for both, I think, or ish. That's $230. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a little more than, but it's around $240 for 2 tickets to see, no offense, Koziel, not a great Orioles team.
Right. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, I was all set to buy more tickets and saw the cheapest 63 and thought,
That's a little steep, huh?
I don't know about that.
Yeah. So I think, let's see, I've got the Trop is, upper 30s. Progressive Field in Cleveland, I guess, is in the 30s too.
Yeah.
Marlins Park is I believe, sub 40. So, yeah, I always thought it was pretty standard. Everybody was over 40,000, but maybe Pittsburgh. But whatever. Anyway, I digress. So that's today, 10 o'clock. If you're interested in Blue Jays tickets for those, if you haven't gone to it. By the way, we had a good time. Friday night was a blast. I talked about it with Sal because you were off for a couple days, but we went down early, grabbed dinner downtown, walked over to the ballpark. The place it was fun. People were alive. They were excited. They were wearing Jays gear. It was great to see, the stands, the vaccinated side on the lower level was pretty packed. Everybody was just having a good time. It was a really fun experience, even though the Jays got their butts kicked that night. It was really great to see. So I'm not here to tell you, don't go. It's probably sure than I thought it was going to be. And like I said, those were $50-ish a piece. So there might be a little sticker shock, I guess, when you go online today at 10 o'clock if you're going online to buy tickets. 803-0550 to join us, 888-552-550 WGR.
Imagine a deck, a bunch of straight, parallel boards. Sure, they're evenly spaced, but so are prison bars. Break free with TimberTech's line of premium multi-width decking. Mix and match widths, and enjoy technology that produces the best real wood look. Better tech means a better deck, so you can create a look inspired by the latest design trends, instead of, Alcatraz. DC, get inspired and start designing your dream deck today at TimberTech.com. Go against the grain.
Happy Thursday. Thanks for chilling with us. So I've got a very important question here, which could shift the dynamic of our relationship as co-hosts. Nah, not really. So someone gave me a heads up. Thank you for the person who tweeted this in. The Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester has now opened up the National Archives of Game Show History.
Great idea.
Right? They're going to try and get materials, records, scripts. They're looking for props.
They're trying to get
designs.
The wheel from the Wheel of Fortune.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. This is like when Kramer rebuilt the talk show set of, I don't know what the hell was it, like the Merv Griffin show or something like that on Seinfeld.
Yeah, Chris Bench, the museum's vice president for collections, said in an interview that the museum would gladly accept the letterboard from Wheel of Fortune, along with a dress from Vanna White. The wheel from Wheel of Fortune would be iconic.
Can we get an old Gene Rayburn suit for the match game?
Well, they're pointing out that there's not really any preservation groups dedicated to game shows.
Yeah.
So they would try to do it. They try to become that.
I loved game shows in the 70s growing up as a kid in the 70s. I'm just scrolling down. I don't know if you have a favorite game show, but I am throwing down. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Without even trying, I got like 10 different game shows down here. I bought home versions of the game shows that I loved.
Well, I almost want to ask the question and say, what was the best game show if you're not allowed to say Jeopardy?
Yeah, I didn't even have Jeopardy on my list. I was not a huge Jeopardy guy as a kid.
I just feel a lot of people will say Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And it's a game show, but when I think game shows, I don't really think about the primetime evening ones. For me, it's more
this was
about
all daytime.
Daytime, midday kind of stuff. I think of The Price is Right.
Actually, there was that to me. All the stuff I'm pretty sure all the stuff I watched would have been daytime. When they moved Price is Right, like at some point they're like, "Hey, let's put game shows in prime time." I'm like, "What? The Price is Right at night? Wow!" I mean, that was a big deal when they moved it to prime time because this was all daytime television.
Yeah, Millionaire, of course, an iconic game show for a long time there, where it took over America. I'll tell you, all underrated list. This is an underrated game show that every one of these things probably made a comeback, but the $25,000 Pyramid was a great game show.
I'm trying to think, was it 20? I think when I first started watching it, that's how old I am. It was only a $10,000 pyramid.
They're both great. An underrated
Dick
show.
Clark, yeah.
The Pyramid was a great show.
Absolutely. I used to watch, so I'm like very much Monty Hall, Let's Make a Deal. I mean, why not? People dress up in costumes and act crazy.
Yep.
I loved Match Game. Like when Mike and those guys play the Match Game, it brings back a lot of memories of the 70s. Newlywed Game. There was something called the Dating Game. Price is Right. You remember a game called Password?
Dating Game. Is that Chuck Woolery? Or which?
No, I don't think Dating Game was.
Which one is?
Jim.
You're right.
No.
Chuck Woolery was Love Connection.
Yeah, I didn't see Love. I don't remember Love. Bob Eubanks was Newlywed Game. Dating Game. Why do I think Jim somebody? I have to look that one up. There was also, but my favorite game, the one I bought the home version for. I mean, I used to watch Joker's Wild. I watched Gong Show. There was a show called Name That Tune.
I've seen Name That Tune.
Where they play like 4 notes of a song and you have to guess the song. USA
Network used to run all this stuff.
Oh, is that right?
They Press Your Luck. Don't forget Press Your Luck.
Joker's Wild. Joker. Well, I mean, there is a Game Show Network right now that has been around for a while.
I like watching Game Show Network and seeing all the old
You're seeing the old shows. That's right.
It's great.
Did you mention Card Sharks yet?
I
Card
didn't.
Sharks, yes.
Oh, Card Sharks. You know what? My favorite game. Did you ever know of a game called Concentration?
Oh, yeah.
Love Concentration.
Did Alex Trebek host that? Who hosted Concentration? Concentration was you had to match pictures.
Yeah, there was a half end of a picture, right?
Yeah, and behind the pictures, I definitely remember Concentration. I loved it. It was a great game.
Yeah, and that's the game. I loved it so much. We got the home version. So you'd get the little board game at home, and you'd put the pictures in with half of each. You put the little cards over them. You'd reveal, hey, whatever. I guess it would have been numbered, right? Number 3. Oh, the back end of a car. Where was that again? I think it was number 17.
Yep.
I loved Concentration. I lived on that game. That
Have
was
you
awesome.
ever heard the story about the guy that beat Press Your Luck?
No.
So you remember what game that was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one where there's the board and you no whammies, stop, and you'd win more spins, you'd win money. If there was a whammy, you'd had a couple opportunities and then somebody else would get the board. This guy figured out, because it looked like a random pattern where the light would be and the board would be. This guy did the algorithm kind of thing.
Oh, my goodness.
And beat it and won a whole mess of money because he knew he couldn't be beaten.
Yeah.
And there's a podcast on it, his whole series on it, I think, about this guy who beat Press Your Luck, and the producers of the show realize halfway through, like, we can't stop this guy.
Oh.
He's going to go as long as he wants because he has beaten the game.
They didn't boot him off or anything.
I think they tried to, and they tried to, the kind of thing where if you count cards in the casino, they're like, you got to get out of here.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about, counting cards. That's exactly what I thought. You're beating the system.
I don't remember how it ended.
Yeah.
So maybe I should listen to it again. But Press Your Luck with the whammies. Growing up as a kid, the whammies were funny. It was cool. You liked the whammies.
Pat tweeted in to tell the truth, which I believe was 3 people One of them, and they all say they have this occupation. I'm Jeremy White. I'm a talk show host. I'm Jeremy. And there's 3 people, and you ask questions to try and figure out which one is the real Jeremy White. I believe that was, I hope I'm not confusing that with another. Maybe I am. I got to look that up and see what To Tell the Truth was. I know there was a game show where there were 3 people, and you, the panelists, would have to ask questions, and at the end, select which of the 3 is that real person. And will the real Jeremy White please stand up? And then they eventually stand up. Maybe it's not To Tell the Truth. I got to look that up.
I think Alex Trebek did host Concentration for a little while. He is listed as a presented by at some point. So
I don't remember him doing that show.
Yeah. What about, boy, I just had a game that I was going to mention to you, and I'm forgetting what it was now. Somebody texted or tweeted it in. Another guy beat Price is Right.
Is that right?
He writes it in. How do you beat that? Depends which
You don't know what game you're playing, though.
Maybe he'd beaten them all. He's a game show decathlete or something.
Huh. To tell the truth,
Sweep.
I had it right. That was the one with the people. You had to figure out who was the person. Okay, got
Supermarket Sweep was a great game.
Ooh, I don't believe I remember a Supermarket Sweep show. Is it like a shopping spree, basically?
Kind of.
Grab whatever you can?
Yeah.
There was a game. What was
Alex
it called?
Trebek definitely hosted.
Sounds like Alex Trebek did it. There was a special once on game shows that a while back. I don't know where it would have been, CNN or something like that. It was really fascinating to watch because it went back into the 50s, like the evolution, the first time they put game shows on television, and how it evolved over time, and how to the point now where Trebek and Pat Sajak are we're raking in tons of money and have these highly rated game shows that people are watching at night all the time.
Yeah.
There was another show called, I want to say it was All About Faces. Oh, it's in my head. I don't even know. I'm trying to remember the premise of anyway.
It's not Guess Who, which was definitely a home game. Was that a television game show also?
It was a television game show, and I want to say it was something about All About Faces, and I feel like it was a Guess Who type of thing. Like a face version of Name That Tune. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm, in the 70s, I'm in my 10, 11, 12 years, whatever. I'm loading up on game shows in the 70s. I love those.
Michael tweets on the Press Your Luck guy. They tried not to pay him, and it went to court, and they had to pay him.
Oh, man.
It's a fascinating story.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So he beat the system.
Deal of the century. I've got a secret. Hey, do you remember the show? Was there some show like $64,000 Question?
Yeah.
Wait.
But that goes back into the 50s.
That's not it. Was there a show called Dream House?
Dream House. I don't remember. I mean, of course there could have been. I don't remember it's anything called Dream House.
My uncle was on it. 1968 game show Dream House.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think my uncle was on Dream House.
That's
I'm
pretty
remembering
cool.
that now, hearing
That's
my mom
awesome.
tell me that my uncle, before I was born, was on Dream House. Anyway.
Did you say, what was one of the ones you said? Was it Sale of the Century?
Deal of the Century.
Deal of the Century. Okay, I thought
in.
there was something called Sale of the Century. Huh.
Double Dare. Thank you for that. Double Dare's great.
Pyramid I used to watch for sure. Yeah. Boy, this is we could. Sorry, we're late to break, but I mean, I could sit here all morning and talk about game shows.
So anyway, great idea. Strong Museum of Play.
Yes,
these should be commemorated.
Yeah, and find whatever sets and props and everything. That'd be pretty cool to have an exhibit filled with stuff from these game shows 50 years ago.
Is the Pyramid up to $100,000 now? Holy cow!
Isn't that
a lot
a candy
of money
bar?
For the Pyramid. The Pyramid's an easy kind of game.
Is that a candy bar or a game show?
That's a good question.
Isn't there a candy bar? Is there not a candy bar?
There's $100,000, yeah.
$100,000 bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
803-0550 to join us. Jeremy's hearing some whispers about Granado as
looking like
the
it's
going
to be Granado.
So what do you think, Sabre fans? You can let us know. Grab a line, join us. If there's something else on your mind, you can let us know as well. And we would love to talk about it with you. We will talk some more hockey about the Sabres and the NHL playoffs at 8 o'clock this morning. Our good buddy, Martin Biron, will join us, and we'll chat about a whole bunch of things with him coming up a little bit later on WGR.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.